This is Kellyanne.
And this is Tyler.
And we are the Jordans
We're
Create.
the Jordans Create. I forgot how that actually started.
Today we're going to be talking about perfecting parenting, or perfect parenting 101.
Because we are the most perfect parents.
Bling.
Not.
Anyways.
We are not. So our goal is to just kind of share the things that we've learned while being parents.
Thus far.
Thus far.
We're only about 7 years into this journey, which is not even halfway through the journey with the first one.
Yeah. We still got a long way to go, but we've learned a lot along the way. There are no perfect parents.
And if you have perfect parents, you won't have perfect children.
That's accurate.
And if you have perfect children, that doesn't mean that you are a perfect parent.
This is true.
But most likely, it's imperfect children with imperfect parents.
That's a little bit more accurate.
That's
A lot more accurate.
That's definitely where we are.
So we're not perfect parents at all, but we're being perfected by Christ.
Absolutely.
And God is molding us and molding us and molding us. What's so funny is I feel like I understand God more as a parent now than I ever have my entire Christian life.
Yeah, and I definitely think that I understand myself more now as a parent and being able to catch my reflection in the little people that we're raising up than I ever did before. Just being able to look in the mirror and say, oh, who is Tyler? This is Tyler.
Yeah, and going, ooh.
Yeah.
No, not just to you, like going, ooh.
Oh, was that what was supposed to be?
Me.
Oh.
That was me
Are
going
you
like,
sure? Is that,
ooh.
yeah.
Yeah, you picked that up?
Already? Like,
no. And
you can't even read yet. How did you get that from me?
Ooh,
Yeah.
ooh, it's bad.
Scary stuff sometimes.
It's bad. Even facial expressions. Kids pick up on facial expressions and they'll do your expression and you're like, where'd you get that face from? While you're actually making the face that they make.
Yeah.
So.
But then it's cool because sometimes, it does go both ways, and sometimes we pick up stuff from them. So,
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Positive things. And then the positive things that you pour in, you reciprocate.
Yeah.
Like, I remember one time Sakir was like, oh, Mommy, you look so beautiful. And I was feeling so horrible that day. Terrible. And he's just like, Mommy, you're beautiful. I know he was just reciprocating things that he hears all the time.
Right.
So it's beautiful that you're planting those seeds, and then when those seeds bloom, they
bless you.
Bless you.
Absolutely.
So that was actually kind of cool experience. But we try to model our parenting after God. It's really a challenge, obviously, because he's perfect.
Oh, well, I mean,
in all of his ways. All of his ways. Though we don't understand, he's still perfect in all of his ways. We try to be loving and merciful, but still firm.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. It is tough perfecting parenting. Practicing what you preach is so important.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's one of the main things. There's a lot of main things, but for me, that's a big one. Practicing what you preach.
Yeah, and being able to model the things that you demand from your children.
Oof.
If you want them to be polite, then being able to model for them what that politeness looks like. If you want them to be respectful, modeling what that respect looks like. If you want them to be considerate, if you want them to be strong, if you want them to be, anything. If you want them to be funny,
disciplined.
Yeah.
Like it is hard, but when we're teaching our kids what God is like, we have to show them. We're showing them an example of who God is. So if we're not merciful, if we're not kind, if we're not loving, if we're not patient with them, then they're going to have kind of a skewed view of who God is, especially if we're saying that we're Christians. So like we're Christians and we're saying, hey kids, this is how you're supposed to be. And because God says we're supposed to be that.
Right.
And we're actually not that. But yeah, practicing what you preach is so big. Yeah, practicing what you preach is big because it's hard. It's hard. Because sometimes I'll do something and this is the thing that's amazing. The kids, you train up your kids in the right way, and I'm not saying we have it perfect and down pat, but
not yet. Working for it.
Striving.
It's a lot of work. Long way to go.
Once you start training them a certain way, they'll come back and haunt you with it. You never been haunted by the kids?
Yeah. Actually, I've had a lot of those
oh my,
those Huxtable moments.
Oh.
When it's like you're doing two things at once. You know, it's like when Claire was like, "Answer me when I talk to you." Oh, don't you open up your mouth when I'm talking to you. I've noticed that happens. You know, it happens. Ooh. It happens in real life. Like, okay.
It's a reality. And then, we train our kids or teach our kids certain things about, how to live and how to make a great impact by being kind and generous and all of these things. And there's so, I don't want to say so often, but there are times when the kids will like reverse that on me in a moment where I'm not being where I'm upset at a driver and I'm like, just
cussing them out with the horn.
Yeah, but not verbally, but
with the horn.
And they're like, "Mommy, they can't even hear you. Just be kind." And I'm just like, "But they're trying to kill us because they're driving like a maniac." And they're like, "Mommy, just be kind. They can't actually hear you." And I'm like, "Oh, you're right though. But they gonna hear this horn." The kids they'll always bring it back. Often what they've learned. So it tells me that you're learning.
You're listening.
And
they actually listen.
Accountability.
They actually do listen.
They do.
Sometimes. Not when you want them to.
They do when they do.
Yes. And I think that's a very fair statement.
Yeah, they do.
They do when they do.
They do listen when they do. That brings us to our next point.
Honesty. Admitting when you are not a perfect parent.
Basically.
Which happens much more frequently than I'd care to admit or indulge at this point. But
sad faces all around.
If our kids are imperfect, we at least know where they get their imperfections from.
What?
I was looking at myself in your reflection. I could see myself in your glasses, so I was looking myself in the eye because I can't look myself in the...
Admitting when you are wrong. That is so tough. But it's necessary.
Indeed.
It's necessary.
For both.
When you grow up in certain types of households, I'm going to just throw out Caribbean households, you don't always hear the apology when people are wrong. You just don't. And if you're listening and if you grew up in a Caribbean household, then you understand what I'm talking about.
If you're American, Black American, then your parents were always right. And you were always wrong. Totally joking. Totally joking. But I think, it's just hard, period, to admit when you do something wrong.
Yeah. With anybody, really.
Well, especially with your kids.
Especially with your kids.
Well, I don't know what the reason for that is.
Yeah.
But it's just, it's big to model apologizing, to model humility, and ownership and accountability. We expect our children to admit when they do something wrong and to own up to it and to face the consequences of it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something else that we honestly have to model as parents. We have to model that to them, and we have to model that for them with each other. So it's very important that we admit when we do things wrong to each other, for the kids to see that it does go always.
Yeah, always. And it is a challenge, but I think it connects with the first point of just
Practicing what you
practicing what you preach. Like, we want you, if you snatch a toy from your sister and you know you snatched it
with an attitude,
we want you to apologize for it, And there's times when I've snatched stuff from the kids.
And they say, "Mommy, don't snatch."
And I'm like, "You're right." I'm sorry about that, And how them hearing that, and that they can say, "I'm sorry,"
Yeah.
We don't want them to use just the "I'm sorry" as a tool. So sometimes the "I'm sorry" comes with, okay, well, what exactly are you sorry for?
Most times.
What are you sorry about exactly?
Yes.
Are you sorry about the fact that you are in trouble? Or the act that actually got you in trouble?
Right.
Yeah, so, and we also don't want the "I'm sorry" to just become this thing that you say to get it over with. But to understand, hey, you're admitting that you did the wrong thing, and you're going to be accepting the consequence that comes with it, if there's a consequence that comes with it. I'm trying to think of any wrong judgments things that we've had to. Oh, you remember that one time somebody got in trouble, a boy in our household, and he was not the only one that was supposed to get in trouble.
Yes.
When he explained the whole story.
Right. So I did have to apologize.
He was reprimanded.
Yeah, a little prematurely. Not that he didn't do anything wrong.
Mm-hmm.
He just wasn't the only one.
He wasn't the only perp
that did something wrong. So I did have to apologize to him. And it wasn't that I had to take away the punishment. I just had to make sure that the punishment was equal and fair for all involved parties.
All involved parties.
Yeah.
Oh, kids know how to spin. You want to tell you born in sin and shaped in iniquity? Some of the stories these kids spin, you're like, that.
Now you know.
Now
you know.
That is not completely accurate. Something about this story isn't right. The math is not adding up. And since we weren't born yesterday, I think we know a little bit more than the average child.
Most times.
You just got here not too long ago. So asking for forgiveness. Like, subscribe, comment.
Share. Yeah.
Jordan's Create.
Yeah.
We out.